Meeting to order at 1 p.m. The town of Smoky Lakes respectfully acknowledges that we are situated on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional lands of First Nations and Métis people. And we move to the adoption of the agenda. Are there any additions? No?
Yes, I had a couple of additions. I had emailed them out under 13.1, set a new date for budget meeting. 13.2, appointment of interim CAO. And then I'd like to add a in-camera session under 14.4, and that, I guess, CAO recruitment next steps.
Part 6,
Thank
section 16,
Thank you.
disclosure to harmful business of a third party.
Yes,
So that was mine and I had the flip.
thank you. And that's it for me.
Crystal, did that address all the?
If you want to add bylaw 007-15 library board. I know there was a motion to bring it back to this meeting. And it's not on the agenda.
So is that under a late edition, 13?
13.3.
Yeah. Everything, I'll get a motion. No. Oh, sorry, Marianne. I'm gonna have to get used to that. You're on the screen. Go ahead.
No problem. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to, for council consideration, wonder if we'd want to have maybe an MCC update from the meeting. I wasn't able to attend on Thursday, or just a quick.
No.
And the second one, I'd like to add is, and maybe just last minute, or municipal intern funding.
Go ahead, Mel.
I can do an MCC update under just council reports, if you guys are okay with like a verbal update. Would that be okay?
I'm okay with that if Mary Ann is. Yep. So that takes care of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ellen?
So Mel already took mine.
For closed session.
And I just wanted to point, when it comes to 7.6 waste collection services, I would like to go into closed camera for that, section 24 advice from officials. So do you want to leave it where it is and go into closed session at that point, or rather than putting it at the end? I just wanted to ask council how they felt about that. So I'm getting Councillor Morton's. No, I just leave it where it is and we'll go into closed session then. Okay.
But that's good.
All right, I'll need a motion to adopt the agenda with additions.
I can make that motion.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. Adoption of previous minutes and action list. 3.1, February 24th, 2025, regular council meeting minutes. Edwin?
I'll make the motion that Town of Smoky Lake adopt the minutes for February 24th, 2025, regular council meeting minutes.
All in favor? Marianne? You're on mute if you wanted to.
Sorry, I'm opposed.
Okay, you're just gonna oppose? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Yeah, so am I. Did you guys want to discuss what you're opposed about in the February?
We just passed it, so.
She voted in favor.
No, I voted with,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Counselor Pfizer, it's been
I'm
defeated.
so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, so
That's why so then it's,
The standing motion still holds.
thought it's. Yeah, it's defeated.
I'll make the next motion. I'll make the motion that Town of Smoky Lake adopt the regular council meeting minutes for March 10th, 2025.
Oh, boy.
All in favor?
Carry.
None opposed, so carried.
And I'll finish that section off. So I'll make the motion that Town of Smoky Lake adopt the regular council meeting action list for March 10th, 2025.
All in favor? None
Well,
opposed,
got it over.
we'll move to delegations. And we will. 4.1, town resident, Michael Lansky. Good morning, or good afternoon.
Oh, you're talking to me?
Yeah.
Okay, so, as you know, on February 10th, I went to, St. Paul Chamber where, Justice Ma and, the Council for Smoky Lake agreed upon a 60-day eviction from the property. At the end of that conversation, I wasn't made aware that they agreed up to the 60 days, so at the end of the hearing, I then said to Justice Ma, so I have till the end of April, is that correct? He said, yes. So as far as I was concerned, I get to stay on the property till the end of April. So then a couple days later, I get the document from the court stating April 11th. I wasn't made aware of that, so I contacted Smoky Lake Council, Mitchell, I think his name was. And I said, well, that's not what was agreed upon. And as far as I know, that Justice Ma agreed to the end of April, April 30th. He said, I can't recall that, I'll check it and I'll get back to you. She got back to me, he says, you know, I don't think that's what happened. So I drove to St. Paul, I recorded the conversation. And I then came back, talked to Mitchell again. He said he was gonna talk to Don about extending it from the 11th of April till the 30th. And I said, okay, that's great. I'll talk to Don in the meantime. So I came, talked to Don. She said, yeah, Mitchell got a hold of me. I said, well, are you gonna extend it to the 30th of April? She said, I don't have a problem with that, but council's got to decide that. So between council and the XCAO, there's there doesn't seem to be an issue with staying till the 30th, other than you guys. So right now, and as I explained to Justice Ma, you know, I don't have nowhere to go as of yet. And I need till the end of April. And if you guys remember when we first started all this stuff, when you guys were taking possession of the property, I already at that time said end of April, because I already knew that that's the time I'm gonna need. So here we are today. I need to go to the end of April, and I want it to be a smooth thing for the next couple of weeks. I don't be causing a bunch of ruckus and stuff, but if I have to, I will. And just because of the fact that there's nowhere for me to go, so that's where I'm at. I need till the end of April. That's 2 weeks. Like I said, Mitchell from your council and the XCO said there didn't seem to be an issue, but it's up to you guys, so here I am.
No,
So we'll be talking about that later on in the agenda, Mike, but you have some place to go at the end of April?
Well, potentially the, whatchamacallit, Niconon. I think they're 700 or something a month. So what I'm trying to do now is give away all my, because I know there's people that are, I'm having a hard time, but I know that there's people that have a harder time. So I'm gonna give all my stuff that I own, all my possessions away as quickly as I can. And to whoever needs it. And the rest I'll just take to the dump if nobody takes it. So that's the plan, because it's just, yeah, that's where I'm at. So if you people know anybody at families that need bedroom suites or couches or anything, let them know to get hold of me and I'll give it to them for free. I have to remind council that when all you guys started, when you first started running, you all said you were here to make a difference in the community, so I guess we're gonna put you to task.
All right, well, we've heard your part and like Councilman said, we'll be reviewing it in section 7. And making a decision. But
Can't hear you.
I said we'll be talking about it later in section 7. And we will make a decision then, but we've heard what you said, so thank you. And,
Okay, well, I talked to Dawn if I can be present when you guys discuss this, and she said because it pertains to me. In the MGA, I'm allowed to sit in on the conversation you guys have with that.
You can sit, but you can't speak, but yeah, everybody's more than welcome to stay for the whole meeting if they like, so. And it's not in closed session.
Well, that's it. You guys just gonna leave it at that then?
The location is to hear what you have to say and if we have any questions for you.
No questions? Okay, so how long before you guys talk about it again?
I don't know, depends how long it takes us, but I would say probably at least half hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah. That's good.
All right, our next delegation, but we are a little bit ahead of schedule, so maybe. Yeah, is John coming in?
He's coming in, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, we'll wait, obviously. And then. Do you want to move forward with 15 minutes? It started anyway. As long as somebody can remind me at 25 after. All right, we'll move to 6.1 administrative reports. No?
Yeah. Let me get down story, just wanted to share. I just had a question for John about the reservoir. So it should be finalized here shortly then? Is it on track for, as per what you?
Yeah, it's on track right now. I forgot the exact completion date. of The contract, but I believe it's in June. So everything should be finished up earlier than June. If everything goes according to plan.
That's good.
I have a question about the supporter meter. We actually have 2 requests today, so what's happening with that? That we are given the supporter meter on a monthly basis in the reports, or? Because there's a request for money, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
There's usually
we'll have to get back on track with that. I know it kind of stopped there for a bit, so for the next meeting, we'll be up to date on this.
Okay. So, I happen to be looking at some of the reports that you did when you were an interim CAO, and they're excellent. So I look forward to your excellent reports in the next few months after we make you interim CAO. I would like to make this suggestion, because you're in a dual role until such time that the position is filled, that it's, instead of you taking reports from all of the managers, that they just come here directly, not only hand in. They can go back to doing the work that's the way that we did it before. So I think that until further notice, we should continue doing that. Are you comfortable with that? That would.
I'm good with that if everybody else.
Then you're not, so that means John would report FCSS. Okay, are you okay with that? Yeah. Just wanted to have a question about the library delegations, or are they gonna be coming next month? Is that,
There was a motion to move it to a future meeting, so
so not today, but the next?
Yeah.
Okay, so just wanted to follow up on that. Redwood Industries, is there any idea why the date keeps changing for the tower?
is that the?
It's now April 7th.
I wasn't involved in that conversation, but it looks like the installation date is April 7th.
So it's just because this is, I think, third date, third date, that's why I'm curious as to what's.
Yeah. if they're
Are
not-
they are at least communicating with you to
They
explain
were
whether,
communicating with Dawn previous to this, so they'll be communicating with me.
because you're taking over the CAO at smokylake.ca.
Yes, I just started today.
Okay, so I was just wondering if you get this too. And I want to express a little bit of a disappointment with something. And that is, last month, we were talking about this terrific FCSS grant and how it's over $200,000 and it's a grant and there's absolutely, no money that was going to cost the town. So then I see it posted on our Facebook page. And there's, first of all, let me start by first of all saying this. Last month, we had 3 ACP grants that were on the agenda so that we could accept them, and we passed the motions for it. So where's the RFD for this, for accepting the grant that we were just talking about last month for SILP? Do we not need to pass a council motion for that, especially because that funding goes towards new employee for 2 years?
I wonder if Rochelle has anything to add on that.
I would just say that we passed a motion pending the the approval of the grant.
Pending, so now we have gotten it, correct? So it's usual practice to have the congratulations letter included in the agenda package under correspondence, but then for us to pass a motion for the grant, all you have to do is look at what we did last month with the ACP grants.
To approve the grant.
Sorry?
Was the grant approved at the last meeting? It was just acknowledged.
So the reason I'm saying that is because we have a grant, so we need to have I'd like to see the letter included in the next package. I'd like to see that council has the motion for the grant. And then also, I see it posted on the Town of Smoky Lake Facebook page, but not once does it mention that we received grant money. It looks like the town is hiring yet another employee.
Mary Ann has a comment.
And thank you again. With all due respect, I don't think that, I don't know. I haven't seen anything that says we're approved for the grant. So I don't want to be combative with you, Councillor Cobes, but I don't, it's pending. So have we received the grant would be the question.
So we have signed off on the grant from our side. We're waiting for the signed copy to come back, which we should receive this week from the government. So it is signed, like Dawn and myself have signed it, and we're just waiting for the finalized copy to come back.
Okay.
Evelyn?
So you're saying you're waiting for something to come back, but it's already been posted on the Town of Smoky Lake to fill the position.
Yeah, well, I had talked to Dawn about it and she said, at the end of the day, if anything, we're like, it's 98% there, right? We're just waiting for like that final copy to come back, but in every other element. So she was like, just get the posting out there and start getting applicants in because we're going to have the signed copy back. If anything were to fall through, which, like I said, I don't anticipate there being anything that would make this fall through, but if anything were to fall through, then we would just have to terminate that posting.
So is this putting the cart before the horse? Because council hasn't approved, that has not come before council. I don't see a letter included in this month's agenda package. We've also been working on press releases. So you said yourself that this is copied after Fox Creek. So I'm looking at Fox Creek's press release right now where they did it. And the thing is that this is a feel-good story. This is something we've received $210,000 in funding.
I thought it would be a feel-good story, yeah.
But then the posting on the town of Smoky Lake doesn't say anything about that at all. So.
Right, so this was like one step of many that will happen around this grant. And we just wanted to get something out there. As you know, it's very hard to find talent to fill the roles in our rural community. So we wanted to get the ball rolling to start getting applicants in, knowing that there would be a bigger press release and knowing that there's greater communication around getting grant funding and making sure that we're acknowledging where that grant money is coming from.
Crystal, you had a comment?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the March 10th minutes, and there is a motion by Councillor Morton to approve the hiring of one full-time staff member for the 2-year period under the approval, upon the approval of the 2024-25 settlement integration and language projects grant. That would be fully funded from funding this position with no matching funds from the municipality of the town in the amount of $211,500. So the position was approved to.
That's not what I'm referring to though.
No, Crystal.
Because I did go back and I did read that motion, because an alternative motion was pending, that we would potentially wait until the grant was given. So we did go ahead and do that, but I'm saying that we don't have any information in this agenda package about this grant. Now I'm being told that it's actually not even there yet, it's 98%. But I'm also pointing to what you, admin, put up on the Facebook page, which actually doesn't include anything about it being a grant. You posted the position.
Okay, Councillor Coates, can you have a motion? Can you make a motion of what you'd like to see happen?
Well, it's too late. Well, first of all, yes. Well, first of all, I'll wait until we pass the admin reports and then I'll pass some motions then.
Any other questions regarding the report? Marianne?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question would be either to John or Crystal. And thank you for the work that's being done at the CN station. And looks like the new floor is turning out really well. I had a concern, and I believe I asked in January, and we didn't have the information at the time. Going through insurance can be a little tricky. I understand that. But there was a photo collection that was involved that had some water damage. And I'm hoping, sadly, I'm hoping that that was on the insurance claim, because it is part of a bigger collection that you can't just maybe replace one of. Because of the authenticity of the photos themselves. They were from the Provincial Museum. And then again, the frames and the way they were curated was many years ago. So if admin could provide an update on that insurance claim, I would be very grateful. Thank you.
I can speak to that. The insurance claim is still in progress. I'm going to be meeting with Heritage Board representative at some point here in the near future to go through the damaged photos and submit the extra claim for that.
Thank you, John. That I'm happy to hear that, and thank you for being so proactive to be ahead of it. And again, I know probably insurance is tricky for both you and Crystal to process those claims, but I'm rest assured, I'm sure you're in good hands with help from the Heritage Board Chair.
No?
If there's no further discussion, I'll make a motion to accept the administrative report.
All in favor? None opposed or carried. All right, I think we'll move on to our next delegation. It's 125 and we see Mr. Cobble is here. So I'll have him move up to the seat if you don't mind.
Right on time then.
Yeah, right on.
All right.
We can do a quick introduction. Then I'll start with Councilor Coates.
You heard it here. Hi, I'm Evelyn Coates,
Nice to meet you.
counselor. Nice to meet you too, John.
And, I'm John.
Yeah.
Or Mr. Cole.
And, yep.
Mel.
Mel, hey Mel.
Crystal Brits, and Assistant CEO.
Okay,
Harley.
Harley.
Lunch clerk.
okay, perfect. I'm John Hobel. I'm owner operator at Smoky Lake Forest Nursery, so. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Mary Ann?
Hi, good afternoon. Nice to meet you and hear from you. Thank you. My name is Mary Ann Proskies-Ruski.
He's deputy mayor.
Deputy Mayor. All right then. Yeah, well, thanks for putting me in a slot here. We've been around a long time, I guess, the nursery. It has not always been private, but it was public, but now kind of switched over to private back in the 90s. We took over from the previous ownership in 2019, I guess. And we're just kind of entertaining and looking for options to potentially go off-site from where we are currently, because we're under lease right now, and with things and changes happening in our markets, it's going to be more stable for us to potentially be on our own turf without having it'd be our full control. But alongside that, there's a lot of benefits if we can get closer to a town site. We have struggled. There's a number of nurseries in our co-op. There's only two that don't exist anywhere near a town. One of them straight south of town, the Melnick Nursery there, and ours. Workers are hard to come by. Logistics are one of those things that, we're about 17 or 18 kilometers outside of town. We have to drive more than half of our workers that are foreign workers, and some locals drive every day out to that nursery. And we're just kind of at that point where we're looking at cost benefit, logistics, drumming up more local workers so that we don't have to rely so heavily on the foreign workers. I know if we were closer to town, we might pick up 10 to 15, even 30% more workers that are local, just because of convenience of walking or even riding a bike over would be great. So what we're looking for is basically growth and opportunity. And there's only so many places where you can kind of think about growing basically a site like this. It's a big entity. It's about 8 acres of greenhouse. There is a pamphlet, you got it up there. So we have a big footprint. That's just the greenhouse side of things. We are about equal of footprint in just our pieces that go with growing, our peat moss storage, our grit, our blocks, our equipment, all that kind of stuff. And we do actually have a lot of field work. So that site originally was built because of the sand. And there's a few places all around here that are sand below us as well. But we do still continue the bare root program, and we do some stooling bed programs. But with the growth and opportunity, we also want to take it to the vegetable side of things. And, like Linda's Garden Market, that's a little niche that disappeared. And there's just more and more people looking to, buy local essentially. And grocery stores are the food to fork program that co-op kind of falls under, a lot of those things. So we try to do garlic, but it was on a commercial basis. We're looking more like we can diversify, which builds us the more eggs you have in a basket, the more stable you are. So we're always looking at that. But if you look at the slide there, growth and opportunities are number one. Worker and town proximity gains, that's huge. For us to stop by bumper to bumper, home hardware, and get parts like that, they can start to house us more. We do so much Amazon and eBay stuff just because of we can wait anyways that we have to drive to town, pick the part, and but we can work partnerships with them and have a little bit more streamlined flow of pieces of assets essentially. The town amenities for us, every Friday when we're busy, we have a lot of our full crew. Our foreign workers come in every Friday for groceries. So for us, that means we stop work at 3 o'clock. Half those workers go into town. We flip, we only have a 15-passenger van. We need 2 drivers. So it becomes a lot of logistics, and safety, like windshield time is probably one of our biggest risks. And it's just a matter of time until something happens, especially on this 28 highway that it's currently sitting. So easier access to town amenities. I know we are a big supporter of some of the town amenities here with our ladies. We missed the ladies miss the thrift store right now a lot, but that's one thing. Yeah, and then increasing growth of local workforce. We tried really hard when we first came here to try and do that, but unfortunately our where we're located, it's really hard to hang on to people for minimum wage for seasonal work. And we are seasonal work. So if we could keep permanent staff, we could hang on to a bit more, but seasonal work, there's people that are happy with it. but sometimes it doesn't always line up with how they've hit their niche of, they get a little job here, they get a little job there, and sometimes our job overlaps with their job and so on. We don't get them at those times. So for us, we have to rely on foreign workers a lot. But if we are local, it means that somebody that's coming off shift can slide over for 6 hours of work at the nursery. Well, that's perfect. That works in our favor. So, and works in their favor. And I touched base about the expansion of potential vegetable retail tree markets. So, you know, also landscaping trees, doing for retail. That's another piece of the entity that we'd like to expand. I already do that kind of, it's like we call it our fix the golf cart fund, because it's essentially what we do is we grow some trees for people, local people stop by and I'll offer what we have, but we don't have much. So if we have a spot that's a little bit more different, we're not on site. There's just so many layers being on the government site. And we're also trying to negotiate there. So it's not like they're off the table and we're completely going one direction, but I wanted to start the feelers out there because our lease comes to end in 1 year and 3/4. And we may sign or we may look offsite, but we got to start it now essentially. It takes almost 2 years to potentially put a package together for greenhouse structure. But yeah, so you guys are nice enough to get us some drawings, and like I had talked with Jordan Rood with the county initially like 3 years ago, actually, when we had first entertained this, and then we kind of just got busy and like we've been trying to climb an uphill battle and learn and grow there already. And now we're kind of feeling where our feet are somewhat stable and we can look at this in a different, more clear, not stressed kind of angle. But our structure is going to be fairly large as it's about 8 acres footprint. The square footage is 365, 672 feet by 544 feet. So when you look at the footprint of it, it's a large area. If you look at Linda's Garden Market and you went to the north side of a field, we'd take up 1/3 of that field, just greenhouse structure, without any storage for blocks or grit or materials that we use for growing. And we would have outbuildings with that for storage of that stuff as well and equipment. And we will also be looking at probably at that same time, if we're gonna do it the way it should be done. And it'll be for both the local workforce or potentially the neighboring, I guess it'd be Buffalo Lake and that. We have a talk with them. And if we have local residents, it is very entertaining for them to have kind of a little camp situation. But we're looking at being 2 to 4 homes, potentially modular for worker residents on site. And then, you know, that's tax dollars for the town. Site is going to be fairly big. So what we're looking for is just basically some ideas almost from you guys, like if there's some piece of land available that might fit the bill for this, then, you know, it's worth taking to the next steps of looking at it, right? So I know I've looked at some of the pieces here and there's a couple sites that can work. And then there's some, unfortunately, just the way it sits, it's just not usable land essentially, and that's where it's at. But needs and wants, access to single phase and 3-phase power. So that's also, if we're not on the government site, it's gonna be very hard to find all those things somewhat close in nature to make it feasible to do it, because a lot of costs associated with building it. We're looking at multi-million-dollar cost, right? And 25-year to 30-year return on investment essentially. Decent water supply, so that's one of the big things. There's some of the pieces that are close by here that are very inviting for a greenhouse to exist on. High grade access for trucks or close to the highway, that's nice. The government side, of course, is paved the whole way. Our semis come in, they have no issues. It's asphalt all around, which is crazy, and it was a lot when they did it for sure. Tax rates, you know, they also have to keep in mind that taxes can kill a person. But of course, we fit right now under a farm policy, so our taxes are essentially what a farmer would pay. Even that on the government side, there's a few more layers in there, but essentially that's where we sit, because that's where we sit with our insurance and all our other our pieces of I guess protection and our contracts and mortgages and all that stuff. So and then, you know, we do require a pretty sufficient supply of natural gas. I know we burn a lot of natural gas, but we also consume a lot of CO2. So we actually generate CO2 in our greenhouses to grow trees. So we're kind of almost I would say carbon neutral, but we suck a lot of CO2 down. Basically, if we're growing 500 to 600 parts per million is like ambient in this room right now, we can suck a room down to 150 parts per million and suffocate our trees. So we just have to keep that in mind. So we need higher volumes of natural gas, because if it's February and it's cold, we're about 3/4 to almost 85% capacity of full, and you can hear the natural gas meters sizzling from the highway probably. So That's a needs and wants situation. There's been one corner that's section 27, the southwest one, where the old lagoon is and the gun range. It's a very inviting section. Unfortunately, the gun range does exist there, and I'm sure that there's all kinds of hazards and setbacks and things like that that go with that piece. I guess, first of all, any questions to me before I kind of look at the pieces that Carly and have given me, so.
No, I was curious why the move, and that's all been answered, so.
Yeah, so,
We can continue.
perfect. The lagoon is very nice, you know, I don't know what the history of that is, if it was a settling pond, storage for when the wells that used to be on across the highway used to fill that, and that's where the water supply came from. Or if it was a lagoon,
No.
what was the history of that?
That big one,
Yeah,
if I can. It's up to you, you gotta go ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
Mel,
Yeah,
do you
yeah,
have,
well,
do you have background on this, or would you rather?
We'll just continue with the presentation.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can,
okay.
I can
mean,
give you
sure.
an explanation of what it is later.
okay.
Okay.
So for us, we need a lagoon to store all our water so that we can make it from the wind, unless we're on a well or a water supply, which, you know, Edmonton Supply runs by, I can't remember what you guys are on the Edmonton Supply now too. That's big dollars for us. We consume a lot of cubic feet of water and we don't need treated water. Treated water for us is just, we have to actually untreat it so we can feed it to the crop. Otherwise, it can do a lot of damage.
So raw water?
Raw water is the best, yeah, and even then groundwater can be high in iron, things like that, we have to still adjust it to adjust pHs and that kind of thing. But everything's fertigated water, and we basically cycle water and fertigated water and fertigated water. So we need a large reservoir to house all that water and make us through basically October is kind of when an irrigation district will shut down a supply. And then we go until basically April and then it fires back up. So currently we pull out of the North Saskatchewan, the government fills the reservoir on site. They fill it in October, they decommission everything, we blow out all the lines. And we use all that water and we suck that reservoir down until about a third capacity. But if we ever had issues where ice damming or something in the river happens or water lines frozen underground, it can be pretty scary when we run out of water. No different than what Brennan runs in their nursery when they run out of water and they don't have any spring runoff. They don't get that recharge right away. And then we also have to have, just for the environmental piece, we do have to have a retention pond for everything that goes through our sumps, goes into a place where we can test. Once we're happy with it, we can pump it to another one. We can treat it and then we pump it back into our lagoon and then we pull it back in. So we kind of recycle our own water. And all our greenhouses are set up so that everything that drains out of the greenhouses for rainwater is collected into that lagoon. So that's how everything will be graded. So we try and replenish our own stock of water. But if there's raw water wells on site, like I know like that's something I don't know a lot about your system, but I have driven by and taken a look at the old pump out station. There's a number of different wells that move around. I'm sure that those all feed common suction to the pump that used to feed potentially to the above ground here. No? Okay, but something I need to know, right? Like, I'm just guessing. Perfect. Yeah, so on the next slide there, it'll show kind of where I would put it. But walking that, it looks to be pretty soggy terrain. I would be pushing a lot of fill from behind the gun range down, and that is just the location of the greenhouse. It might not work that piece. I know the county has a little piece below, but it is private land in between, so probably not feasible, but entertainable, but I don't know how it works with the gun range there, and if it wouldn't be very safe, I don't think, to have bullets flying over a greenhouse. So that's that piece. Originally, that was one of the ones I was really interested in just because it had the lagoon sitting there already. You know, it's for the big cost to move dirt around and it'll have to be a lined pond so that we don't, you know, leach anything if something ever happens. And that I don't know the grade, but I'm guessing that's pretty close to the grade of the White Earth Valley there. It's pretty low. I know when you drive into the gun range, you know, like the gates there and the ponds on the left, and it's not much grade below where you're getting to the skag. So another piece you had was just across the highway. Yeah, so the one to the right of that one, we're selected green right now. That one's a bit too small, but would be, and I don't like taking down too much trees. I like growing them. The piece over is definitely one of the ones that I know I talked with Carly about you guys have a walking path that goes through the top of all that now. Scan that. truly the north side of that section is the best place to probably put it. It's high enough where we don't have to worry about sinking and disappearing out of sight if something ever happens with high water table. The bottom, I guess, would be the southwest part of that corridor. There's not enough terrain there. Plus there's a 3-phase power line that runs through there, a bunch of wells. If you do the math of our square footage, we would need to be about 600 feet long, just the way the building is. There's a picture of the greenhouse in the back. But it's not quite, but the north side of that is probably the best piece that of the three that were discussed. Would be kind of amazing if that was a piece that could be talked about. I'm not sure how permanent your walking path is or what the future is, if it's gonna be paved or gravelled or anything like that. I did throw a like on the next slide. Back froze. Next slide kind of just shows on the south west piece of that. Oh,
Mary
got a
Ann?
question?
I do, thank you. And so it goes back to your other slide. I believe that was the old water treatment plant. And I think if memory serves me correctly, there is 3-phase power there. And it would be there's a bunch of wells, so it would be well water. And no, there's no wells left. Mel's kind of shaking her head, but
I don't think it's the water treatment plant, that picture.
near the walking trail, so it connects behind there.
That's what I thought.
It's south of that. It's the little Quonset you can see on the very south middle part of there.
I believe there's one well on the north side of Laders Creek.
Right,
I guess the question would be, is that an old pump house?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you, so going back to my question is to you then, you had mentioned about the water, that you don't want to have to treat it. So could you use well water for your production?
Definitely. We can use well water. We just test it. We test everything. Generally, well water is actually fairly decent water to use in the greenhouse. It can be quite hard. It's hard on equipment, but we don't soften anything, and we just every year we clean nozzles. We have filters. We put the necessary things in to be able to use the water. Like right now, the South Saskatchewan River water is also it's got its own challenges, but it's still definitely better than having treated chlorinated water coming through the greenhouse. And we don't pay, like we pay roughly what irrigation costs. We pay kind of like inches per acres kind of deal right now, so. But yeah, so that walking path, basically that one quarter, that is one of the best pieces. This is all preliminary. I'm looking for a piece and it's all, you know, like we're at the hand of the town to like maybe even suggest if there's something else. Jordan didn't really have much to offer in the county. We can also purchase private land essentially, but you know, ultimately. First, try the town, work hand in hand. There's lots of hand, like, it's, what's the symbiotic kind of relationships that can be had, so.
No. Did you guys talk at all about the old landfill?
No.
Maybe,
Where is the old landfill?
just, another. So where you were looking at the lagoon?
Yeah.
Area, go up another 1 kilometer, turn right. Down in
So,
there.
straight on the highway,
Yeah, and then just go, it's to the east side there.
okay,
We'll get Pam to,
yeah, for sure, like, I don't wanna eat up too much of your time too, I'm sure you got things to talk
yeah,
about.
we own it.
But it's good to share it and know that this is kind of what we're looking for. But yeah,
I think suggest speaking more with administration, some locations, right? Is that fair?
Yeah, we've chatted
Yeah.
Okay.
about, I gave John this information on those properties, but I did not know about the old landfills.
Just another, something you'll know better if it fits your needs or another option to look at.
for sure, like, I know, just in historic past with other situations closer to where I grew up, you know, like the town can work very favorably with businesses to be able to create, you know, a good, stable, I don't know, jobs tax base, you know, like things like that that benefit the town, right? So every time we have more workers here, you know, if they're spending their money here in town, they live here in town, it can bring more people to town, that kind of stuff. So that's why my first step's always to kind of go that direction. Like Linda's Garden Market would be an opportunity for us to like go and knock on the door and say, hey, like, what's the path of this? Cause I know our kids aren't taking it over. And that's a nice piece of land. But what's it gonna be worth on the other side of the highway? And it all comes down to, can we afford doing it, right? Like we can coexist on the government side, but one day it's gonna get to the point where, you know, every improvement we do there on site, they own essentially. So we can take anything that's not bolted to the ground that we put in there. But just for us, if we talk about moving, just to us, move our styrofoam blocks off site, we're talking like thousands and thousands of dollars and truckloads of material before we even get anything going. So, but we're still young enough. Brother's 6 years younger than me, so he might have to do a little more of the work, but no, I'd like, it's inviting, like my brother and I, we talk about, we're like, man, it would be so nice to be close to town. And we go bearing and we're like, who's going? Rock, paper, scissors, we're tired of making the drive, you know, and our workers, you know, our van been, you know, it's good for the Chevy dealership, but our van's been there lots. We drive with that van, we put miles and miles on our vans just getting to workers to and from. And you know, in bad conditions, it's horrible to make people drive. And if we have a good local crew and they can all, you know, easily get to work, well, then we can function day to day too. So, but that's the basics of it. Growth and opportunity, proximity gains to town, access to amenities, workforce growing, and then expanding other things. If we have a better local crew, because our seasonal workers, they leave. So when our foreign workers go, they go. They're only on a contract. We can only keep them for so long. And if we keep them too long, then we don't get them back the next time. We have to get new workers. So we keep those, they're on kind of a pattern. But if we have more local workers, it means I can do those expansions in like retail and vegetables and maybe not flour. I'm not sure what those things. But yeah, so that's basically it.
Okay.
Yeah, more than happy talking with everyone here and admin and trying to get maybe something kind of on paper and take some steps forward potentially. So,
Okay.
any other questions?
Not at the moment.
Sure.
He says no.
Not during council meeting. You guys can
No,
talk.
he's not in.
Oh, okay, sounds good. That sounds good.
All right.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right, move on to our next delegation. Mr. John Renton.
Hey, I just want to bring up,
Can I do introduction?
okay,
Go ahead, have a seat.
okay, sorry,
Okay.
I don't attend too many of these.
No, I know. So, yes, hello, my name is Evelyn Cobes, Counselor.
Amy Turner to the mayor.
Amy,
Hey, buddy.
Melanie,
Crystal,
Christine, Crystal,
Yeah.
Carly.
Carly, yeah.
And then John on the screen.
Okay.
Hi. Hi, John.
So, anyway, I had an incident over by the post office there and, the ice was up over the curb. And when I pulled in there, my car just slid right on over the ice and hit the railing. My biggest concern about that was damage, or not my biggest, but there was damage done on my vehicle. Not a whole lot, but damage done to the railing. And imagine if there was somebody in between there, somebody walking into the post office. Now, that's a high traffic area. And it should be treated that way, right? But there's a lot of concern over, as far as I'm concerned. I know there was 2 other incidences other than that one. So something's gotta be done about it, or, you know, like, I would like to have my car paid for. It's not a whole lot of damage, but still, I just had the front end painted, right, where somebody backed into me. And maybe not a week before that. But it's only paint damage on the plastic and the grill is cracked. The railing was bent pretty bad over there. And like I said, if there was somebody there, he would have got hurt pretty bad, right? broken hips, who knows, maybe even killed, right? And then where would we be? You know, where would I be? You know, like, I already talked to insurance. I wouldn't have no worries about it. But so somebody's responsible for that curb to keep the ice cleared from the curb. And when it's called in and told and tell the people that need to know about it or supposed to know about it, they're supposed to go over there and look after it. But I know that for a fact. I contacted OH&S, which I used to be a member of at McMurray, and they told me the same darn thing, right? If anything happens like that, I get the contact. I don't wanna get into that, I just, you know. It's a big concern, right? And I talked to quite a few other people and they said, you're damn right, if, you know, like some older lady was there walking by and she's slow. And it don't take much to bust some old lady's hips, nor an old man's hips, right? So, I mean, that's my concern, and then I also would like to have my vehicle paid for. If not, well then, I'll take other measures, right? And I don't want to do that.
Questions? I don't have much.
No,
You're very detailed.
well, thing is like I said, it's not about me, it's about some poor lady or old man, anybody, even a kid, you know. I bent that railing really good, like, and I wasn't even going fast, it just, the way it slid right in there, and if you look at that road, I got pictures of it on my phone. If you look at that road, and it comes out right above right above the curb. Okay, so the ice is building up there. And that day there was snow there, of course. But I know for a fact that when people are told to look after it, they're supposed to look after it. If they don't look after it, then they're responsible. So,
No?
When you say, okay, I had a question anyways before, John, did you end up filing a police report? At all?
I went to file a police report. They said I didn't need to file one because it was under $5,000 damage. And the officer even called me again, another officer did, told him what I was told. He said, no, that's right.
Yeah.
So, and then I went to the insurance company and made a statement there. And like I did what I was supposed to do, right? Like,
That's my only question.
but anyway, it is a concern, so, and I will be watching it, right? Like, next winter, like this is every winter, it's like that over there. And people are walking in like penguins all the time. They get out of their vehicles and they're walking like penguins because they're scared they're gonna fall down, right? Like. So,
All right,
okay,
thank you. If there's nothing else, we'll be discussing it again here later.
okay.
Thank you, John.
Okay, thank you for your time.
You betcha.
Okay.
Right, so public hearing has to be outside, right? We'll move on to deferred items and old business. 7.1. Delegation with Mike Polinsky, town resident. Need to extend it to April 30th? Mel? May, I saw May 1st here.
So my hesitation is only that had to go to court, got a date. And now we're asking to extend again. Had an original date before then. Continuing on having date, my biggest concern is that the end of the month will come and we'll be asked to extend it again.
Something happened now.
So, just between the council, that is my concern right now. And that's my only holdback for not extending the date. It has been chance after chance, so I'm just a little concerned about that. Does anybody else have any?
Yeah, I feel the same. I'm okay with extending it, but as long as we know that. But
We have no.
I get it, and it'll be the 30th, I'll be out. End of story, so you guys don't have to worry. However, if you leave it to the 11th, then I won't be out. At least you know where I stand.
Yeah, this time though, it's council talking, so, yeah, no, it is. So, I just want to hear from my council.
Because we belong to you.
Mine, you're all mine, you're all mine. Yeah, just if anybody has, some input as to what you would like to do.
Thinking,
It's okay, we didn't,
because both of you presented two different opinions, so I'm wondering which way to go myself. And I was waiting until the presentation today.
yeah, definitely. Just to be clear, like, I don't want any. It's not that we're not, I'm insensitive to anything, because. I just, if I could have a firm date and I knew it and I felt good about it, then I would have no issue with this.
Evan, I'm gonna make the motion that Town of Smoky Lake move forward with the removal on May 1st, 2025.
Mary Ann, you have no comment, no further? Before I call the question?
Well, I did have my hand up. So
Right.
I'm concerned that, so we have an agreement. And so we're entering into another agreement, or, based on the recommendation prepared from administration.
Following with the lawyers,
I guess, sorry, my question, Madam Mayor, is I didn't know where the date April 11th came from. I listened to the presentation from Mr. Wolanski, so I just want to be respectful. So April 11th is not a suitable date according to Mr. Wolanski. He's not able to leave at that time. And so that poses a problem that he could make arrangements with us. And so we're going to go against what the court has said, and that it would be April 30th. But if I would support April 30th or May 1st if we had access to the property and we could start maybe getting an appraisal done, or in terms of our next steps, if there was access to the property, and if we could have some sort of, I don't know if we need a formal agreement or going back to the lawyers, but just to have access to the property and move forward. And I want to be respectful of everyone's personal circumstances as well. And so that would be my comment and my recommendation to council.
Evelyn?
So would that be a friendly amendment to mine, that it would be, that we would consider removal on May 1st, 2025, as long as we have full access as of the April 11th? Along those lines, unless you want me to embellish on that? Because I actually agree with, I like I like your friendly amendment. I
No.
think that we can meet a middle hybrid ground this way.
Yeah, I could get on board with that for sure, if we could have, administration could work with the resident to at least then get in and we can get an assessment on.
Marianne?
Sorry, just to backstep a little bit. I'd still like to hear from our administration, because if we have a, how should I say this, a legal platform that what has happened with, as Mr. Wolanski has said, that the court had said April 11th. And then from what I gathered from the presentation, it was a bit of a misunderstanding. And then with the previous CAO resigning, I would still like to know where we stand legally, because I don't want to go against what we've already determined. And then we've already paid legal fees to get good advice. So now we're going to vote against that or say something different contrary. And I do appreciate the recommendation and the prep work that has gone into this. So thank you, admin, but I'd still like you to weigh in. And if it's something that, because it's legal and we'd have to go into closed session, I would support that as well.
I didn't get the information. I think we should go into closed if it's dealing with legal.
You want to go to close?
You need some, sorry,
No.
do you need some time to gather that information? Do you
A
want
couple
to?
minutes. Yeah, it doesn't take.
So would you like, if I may, Madam Chair, would you like a motion to table this to later in the meeting?
Do it in closed session?
That's the time we did for that.
So I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay,
Thank you. I just want to do what's best for everyone. As I'm sure we all do.
So I withdraw my motion.
okay, so we'll need a motion to move it to, for 8.5 and table to closed session.
I'll make that motion to table it.
Maybe we can table.
Oh, all in favor? Yeah. so motion is- None opposed, so carried. All right. We'll move to 7.2, delegation, John Popple, Smoky Lake Tree Nursery. No?
I'd like to make a motion that town of Smoky Lake administration work with John Popel, co-owner of Smoky Lake Tree Nursery, regarding potential development on land owned by the town as requested, and bring back to a future regular council meeting.
All in favor?
Oh, well, any discussion?
Yeah, any discussion? I just assumed that was. No, okay, all in favor? None opposed, so carried. 7.3, delegation, John Renton, town resident.
Evelyn, I'll make the motion that Town of Smoky Lake file for information, the presentation by town resident, John Renton.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. 7.4, 911 West Railway Drive motions. I believe Councillor Proskey-Zurutsky had asked for further information regarding these motions.
So if I can speak to this, thank you to admin and to, or Carly, for preparing all this. And I'm sure it's takes a lot of work, so thank you. I'm concerned though, so we had the two agreements in our agenda package for the last, that was probably February 24th meeting. And when I look at the motions, I don't see any motions that say, a motion or a resolution of council to execute those agreements. So in principle, I'm not sure what to do, and that's where we're at now. So that's my observation. The other councillors may have a different observation, but again, thank you to administration for preparing this package for us.
Evelyn?
I noticed that too, Marianne, and it explains some things that I've been wondering about for a while. For now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the motion slightly. I'm gonna change it to say that, I'm gonna make the motion that Town of Smoky Lake acknowledge receipt of the 9/11 West Railway Drive inventory of motions dated from 2021 to 2025 in reference to motion 143-2025.
Any discussion? Regarding the motion on the table? All right, no?
Marianne, did that clarify? Or did you want to make a different motion? After, no?
I'm okay, you can call the question.
All in favor? None of course are carried. 7.5 Sand Station Business Plan. Marianne?
Thank you. So I'm going to lead with this, and then again, probably not going to have any friends in the room, but I had we had started this journey a long time ago with the event at the CN station. My hope is that the town, as a town-owned building, would have a plan around this. And so January, it came to a motion. And I was hoping to see some sort of a draft of a plan at this time. And I still would like to see what maybe admin has already done. I don't think this is the role of council to go into a workshop for something that is operational. And at this point that we're in, I'd like to defer it to the next budget meeting. And so I'm going to make a motion because the benefit of deferring it to a budget meeting is to see if there could be any funds earmarked for hiring a consultant, like a chair of the Heritage Board or a grant writer named Michelle Wright that does consultant work to prepare business plans for us. And if there is a certain amount of funds that could be earmarked for this project, I think that would benefit it with the scope of work, the value that it could add, and having it prepared quickly, as opposed to council having a workshop to create a plan. We already know the plan. There's a final report from the museum, the Economy Musée. Our previous CAO has that report. There was recommendations that we had during the tour. And so I'm going to make the motion while I'm still talking, and you can vote against it, and that's okay too, but I defer it. My motion is to defer to the next budget meeting.
No?
You have friends, Marianne. I actually agree, with you. I think that's a great idea. I think it, leave it. Also get input from people who are in the know who do that sort of thing. Also, not just the, vision of the council is a great idea. So I would love to support your motion.
All in favor? Any other discussion here, Evelyn? But you had, would you like to? All in favor? None opposed, so carried. 7.6, we'll go into closed session.
Before going into closed session, I have a question, what municipalities were contacted?
John, did you?
I didn't contact them, but I looked online, I compared about 10 to a dozen different master rate legislation.
Okay, we're talking about waste removal contract right now.
Yeah, I did some of the research on that.
Regarding ownership of the bins and the processes?
Yeah, I got costs to purchase bins as well as I wasn't able to find many examples of contracts that had the municipality owning the bin. Typically, the contractors used, the contractor supplies the bins. If the municipality does waste removal themselves, they typically own the bins themselves.
So it says administration spoke with several municipalities.
Might have been a miscommunication there. Don wrote this RFP, but I provided some information for her.
Okay. So I'll make the motion that we go into closed session as per, wait, was it again that we? 24. Advice from officials.
You have to. All in favor? None opposed, so carried. Can I get a motion to come out of camera?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried.
Come out of camera.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
I'll make the motion that Town of Smoky Lake defer the waste removal contract with Smoky Lake Waste and Recycle to the next budget meeting.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. 7 point, oh no, to our public hearing. He. Please, I believe he was here.
Yeah, you want to look for it.
Okay.
Do they have a copy of the public hearing now? Available to the public?
Have a copy?
Copy.
Like,
Oh, yeah, so we can see what's public hearing goes.
A lot of.
What's it pertaining?
Yeah, great. I'll get that. Oh, yeah, I actually.
Did that like, sorry.
I just want her to sign in so we can, 'cause I'm assuming she might want to speak.
Oh, I don't know where to do it. I mean, there's one at the close. I think she went there.
Does someone have a copy?
She left.
No.
But she didn't think that was in an hour.
Thank you.
I have it. Okay. So, good morning. Do I have to say we're going to? Bylaws and. Okay, public hearing, so I'm just starting the public hearing. Good morning, my name is Amy Turnitin, Mayor of the Town of Smoky Lake. I'll be the chair of the hearing today. On behalf of council, I would like to welcome you here. I would like to take a moment to introduce the councilors in attendance. Mary Ann, we'll start with you because I always forget if I don't.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mary Ann Prosky-Zaruski.
Hello, my name is Evelyn Cobes, Counselor, Town of Smoky Lake.
I've already introduced myself.
Melody Morton, Counselor for Town of Smoky Lake.
We're just starting the public hearing. Did you want to speak?
No, I just want to see what's
Okay.
happening.
Okay. All right. Planning advice will be provided by Pam Routier, the Town Development Officer. And I declare the public hearing open at 2:32. For the ground rules of the hearing, and the order of speaking will be the CAO and the Development Officer will speak first to outline facts and present their recommendations on the proposed bylaw. Members of the public who have signed in will be given the opportunity to speak in the order they signed in. Anyone else who did not sign in will be given the opportunity to speak. The CAO and Development Officer will be given the opportunity to present closing remarks or address any of the issues presented. Councilors will be given the opportunity to ask questions. Council will then end the hearing and consider the information received at the public hearing. Only councilors may ask questions of speakers during the hearing. If any person wishes to ask questions of the speaker, they must ask council to ask the question on their behalf during the presentation, and council will only ask the question if council wishes to have an answer. Council will consider the representations made regarding the bylaw and any other matter council considers appropriate. I would like at this time ask the CAO to confirm the public hearing has been advertised and notice has been provided in accordance with the applicable legislation.
Yes, it has, Ms. Chairman, the public hearing notice for bylaw number 08/2025. Land use amendment advertisement in the Redwater Review was on March 19th, 2025 and March 26th, 2025.
Thank you. I will ask the development officer to summarize the purpose of the hearing.
Thank you. The purpose of this hearing is to obtain public input to amend Town of Smoky Lakes Land Use Bylaw 007-018 by rezoning approximately 0.08 hectares of Lot 8, Block 1, Plan 1885 CL 4706 50th Street and 0.08 hectares, Lot 9, Block 1, Plan 1885 CL 4704 50th Street from R2 Residential Medium District to R3 Residential High Density District. First reading of bylaw number 08/2025 was given on February 24th, 2025.
All right, before hearing from the public, I asked the CEO to advise of any written submission received. Crystal, were there any written submissions?
Not that I've, nope.
No, okay. I will now call upon persons signed up on the resident sign-in sheet who are in support of the proposed bylaw. So if there's anybody that'd like to speak in support of the proposed bylaw, now would be the time. All right, and if not, I will now call upon persons signed up on the sign-in sheet who are opposed. If there's anybody that'd like to speak against it, now's your moment. And if not, I guess if any council has any additional questions, oh, Hank,
I'd like some clarification, if, I don't know, where in the hearing that comes up.
of what's happening.
No, clarification regarding that application to rezone from residential to high density. I have a question I'd like to get clarified by your planner or whatever.
It's the town who's making this application. We're just proposing, right now it's zoned residential medium density and we're proposing high density because we're consolidating two parcels and are intending to build a fourplex there.
Okay, so my question to whoever it's appropriate is, what are the implications on the change over to, because that lot is on 855, which is a primary highway, so access in and out of that. Before it was two single homes. Now you're proposing higher density, which is great, but my concern would be the amount of traffic coming on and off that highway and the safety issue. That's all. That's why I'm asking for clarification. And that can be dealt with in your planning stages, but my question is exactly that. Changing the use, which is fine, but transportation, that would probably have some comment or input, or did you get some feedback from, I guess, so those two questions.
They haven't been contacted right now. Typically, we would contact them when it was the development process, when we have a more firm plan for development, so they will be contacted and notified. They haven't yet.
That is a busy highway. There's a lot of trucks going by, but if they decided to do a garage or whatever in the back, that's not gonna make a difference, or build up and have a garage underneath, or what are they planning? Like, that's what I'd like to know.
I don't believe we've gotten that far.
Okay.
No,
But
no.
is there, something in the works?
No,
Okay.
nothing yet, even in that development stage.
No.
But of course, that would have to be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question. Oh, Marianne.
Sorry, and with all due respect, I recognize the first speaker, Mr. Holovichik. I didn't, the second speaker wasn't announced, so I'm not sure if they were on the sign-in sheet or if they're opposed or in support of, or if they could just share their name. And thank you for their comment too.
Pat Romanco.
Oh, okay. Hi, Pat.
Hi.
Thanks.
Zero.
They can't see you, it ends right here.
Oh,
Zero.
okay, super. I have a lot of questions, but it's not going that far yet.
Okay. Any questions from council?
I just want, so just for clarification, it's just changing the zoning of it right now. So
Yeah, but
yours has, so your questions have everything to do with the next step? Okay, so that's not what's being discussed during this hearing at all.
Okay,
It's
it's
just,
just the zoning?
it's just the zoning, just for clarification. But that doesn't mean that you can't come back to us and bring those questions and everything. But that actually is the next step if we're just doing the zoning of it right now.
Yeah, you're proposing that, so.
Does that answer?
Well,
Or
yeah,
clarify?
it does answer it, but I would say if you're changing the zoning, there's a reason for it, and it follows that other steps are gonna be taken, like there's gonna be maybe affordable housing or whatever you're gonna do.
Yeah. No, yeah, no decisions have been made exactly what would go, but you're right, there is obviously thoughts of something happening. But what it is and when and who is still unknown for now. All right, if there are no other questions, I will declare the hearing closed at 2:40. You want to finish section 7 and then take a quick pee break, or do you want to do it right now?
Can we do it right now?
Yeah. Okay, we'll call a break at 2:40.
That was too funny.
Starting in progress.
All right, we'll call the meeting back to order at 2:48. 7.7, volunteer appreciation event, date change request. Yep, Mel, sorry.
I'd like to make a motion that Town of Smoky Lake amend motion 232-2025 to change the date of a volunteer appreciation event from May 2nd, 2025 to April 29th, 2025, with all other aspects of the motion remaining unchanged.
Marianne?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question. So in the background, the last paragraph, it says since that approval, it's been determined that there's a conflicting, a scheduling conflict. Can anyone share that, or is it something to do with council or nothing to do with council?
It didn't have anything to do with council, it just had to do with administration conflict.
All right, any other questions? Evelyn?
A reminder when we've got a proclamation for volunteers on the books that we've passed, right? A proclamation for Volunteer Week, so is this? I don't remember when Volunteer Week is. Is it on, oh, good for you. Because was that,
Application of National Volunteer all week. All day, sorry, for sure, all day. Yeah, so it's all week, that week.
Starts on the 27th.
starts on the 27th? Okay. Thank you.
All right, all in favor? None opposed, so carried. Now we move to 7.8 Housing Accelerator Fund update.
Thank you. So, for this, we just have some different ideas we wanted to kind of go over because we need to look at what we're gonna spend our half money on, as we haven't been spending. So as part of our agreement, we need to reach the 21 permitted housing units during the 4-year span, but that's just not, it can't just be single family dwellings. So we need to make sure we're getting these 4 missing middle, 6 other multi-unit housing, and then 23.81% has to be affordable housing units. So we're on track right now for our single family dwellings with our land sales and everything we've gone through there, but one aspect that we could go deeper into now is the affordable dwelling, sorry, not affordable, accessory dwelling units. So the work was already, this is one of the initiatives in the HAF right now. And so the policy's been updated and everything, but we haven't had any applications for these. And it would be an easy target for us if we could get some of these built, because that would be affordable units plus, of course, missing middle. So here's just a background kind of on some information, what accessory dwelling unit is. So it's basically some kind of secondary suite. It could be attached or detached. It could be like a basement suite, a garage suite, hardened suite, in-law suite, any of those type of suites. So I had found a couple municipalities that were doing this as part of their HAF grant and talked to both Westlock and Bow Island. They both had positive feedback and outcomes on the program. So they were doing it for last year. They were offering these incentives as part of the program, and they just basically would cap an amount, and they both filled their requirements every year. So that would just be an easy win kind of for us if we could get those done.
Well, just for clarification, so they would, people would create these spaces and the municipality would use the grant money to give them incentive to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so for the,
Said that backwards, but
yes. So for Westlock, they were doing them for dwelling units and any new secondary units, and basically when it was done, like final inspection, they would get their money. For Bow Island, they're doing it as a tax credit, so it's going like one lump sum though on the roll. So that seems a little bit like, if you're the developer, you're not gonna necessarily get the benefits, because like as an apartment dwelling, like you're gonna sell it, so it seemed a little bit simpler to just go for the grant route. So yeah, they have to finish it, they have to apply, do a program agreement. And then, yeah, when they're done, we would pay them.
So when you say 25,000, you're like 1 for 15 and 1 for 10, depending on what they.
No, maybe I didn't put that in here. I thought 5,000 would be like the incentive. So if we do it for 5.
Oh, okay,
Maybe I did not include that in the budget, maybe. Okay.
apartment building.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so 25,000
5
total.
per
if
unit,
we-
okay.
Yeah, so that we could get 5 done.
Okay, all right, makes sense. Sorry, I missed that first. Evelyn?
So again, do we hit the mark just by taking this $25,000 and committing it to it, or does all $25,000, like, are we in trouble if we don't have enough residents that come forward and use this grant? Or like this? Yeah, this
No, I
grant.
don't think we're in trouble. It's just kind of an idea to get more development going, and this seems like an easy, like, if people are looking for a rental income or that's like a kind of helping hand. We're not like in trouble right now, but we have 3 years to like hit our housing target.
But there's yearly target.
No, this is like our overall target for the 4 years.
Okay, so if we were to do this, take this amount of money, set it aside, that is a check mark. And then what about if it's not all used within that time period then?
We can discuss if we
Yeah,
want
right.
to use it for.
Use it then,
something
but
else.
they're satisfied with us taking this.
Oh,
money.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, so just to clarify what everyone's saying, we have to spend the money before we get the next year's money. So if you earmark it for that, does it count as spending it?
we don't have to spend all the money before we get next year's money, but we have barely even spent half of what we have right now.
Okay.
And we need to spend the money on like our direct, what is been approved in our initiatives or in stuff that they allow, like water lines and all this, so. Yeah,
I misunderstood that then.
but we
Thank
need
you.
to find projects to spend the money on.
Yeah,
The reason I'm confused by this, because I remember being told that e-permitting was a check mark right away, and I remember being told again with the homes that we've done, that filled the numbers, so this is why I'm getting kind of confused right now as to when we're meeting goals or what,
we met our first year's goals. I think that's.
Yeah,
so this is
This is second year.
Yes,
Yeah.
so it's just
Okay,
building
so there we
off
go.
of.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
clarification.
sorry, yes, we did our first year, we passed
Okay.
the reporting, we got our second year of money. The 5 first milestones, whatever, those continue now throughout the 4 years. So we're kind of building off of those. So the accessory dwelling units was part of the initial 5, but this grant part wasn't to offer, but I asked them, can we include this?
Mhm.
To, get people incentivized, and they, yes, like this, like I've talked to CMHD about this idea before bringing it forward.
Okay.
But yeah, those were done and part, and the e-permitting, was all paid for.
Okay, and if I can follow up on that, why not more money?
Yeah.
No, because, and the reason why I ask is because I did look at other municipalities that had this in place and they actually offered.
Yeah.
Even more incentive to do it.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm wondering, because when you say, so.
More per
You
unit.
offer, yeah, you actually offer them more money.
Yeah, that's totally. That was just like a number I just kind of like came up with, but
You just went poof, like.
yeah, it's like, here, let's just talk about this number, but it can always be. Yeah, we have lots of money right now that we need to
I
spend
do,
for HIA.
yeah, because I do.
Thank you. So I like what's being presented to us. I'm concerned about the development or the aerial structure plan for 9/11. I don't think we've talked about that as a whole. But Pam, my question is to you that, is there any risk in offering now an incentive to the people that have already built maybe or developed their lots? And if there's any risk in the person that's only developing one house per their lot coming up. So are we going to be in any type of negative perception if we incentivize it after the fact?
There's been nobody who has built an accessory dwelling unit yet, and the people that have been building recently are all the ones that got really good deals on town-owned land, so I don't know what the negative risk would be. We're not committed to spending any of the money. I wrote into like the policy that it could be like, we can terminate the grant at any time if council so chooses, so I think it's very low risk in my opinion, but.
And thank you. And it's good to hear from you because you probably are the expert in this. So thank you. And then comparing it to what has been done. So then if you could, Amy, if you'd allow me, just the second part of the recommendation is to obtain quotes for the area structure plan. I don't know, Pam, what is your idea for growth in that area?
So the thought is that for 9/11, that would be a great location that we want to see some like apartment type buildings, small and tiny homes, like a diversity of housing types and some affordable housing, of course. So because it's such a large piece of land, like 12 acres, we want to see a full build out plan, roads, utilities, what that's going to look like. So that's kind of the thought of, hey, we can use the money to do the area structure plan and then get it developed essentially, is kind of the thought there.
Marianne?
Thank you again. So thank you for the answer, Pam. So just ironically, I'm at a housing, senior housing with affordability at a conference in Edmonton right now. And would we as council look at taking on partners? There's, you know, with the Recovery Center for development, maybe the Métis Nation could build houses, or we could partner. I don't think that the town wants to be developers, but I think we want to get the land developed and increase our tax base. I think that's the vision of council, if I may. So Pam, then you're saying that we want growth and what we want it to look like too, right?
Yeah, the area structure plan is like a high level document that would guide the full development of that parcel, basically. And what we want it to look like, controlling that piece, essentially.
Thank you.
No.
Yeah, to answer Marianne's, I think, yeah, I think partners would be fabulous. The town still has, like, we still have to provide services and things like that too. So I think at least obtaining quotes for the area structure area structure plan. Just to see what that would look like wouldn't be a bad idea. And yeah, I love this residential development grants idea. I'm a big fan. So.
Marianne?
I would support the motion or the recommendations that are in front of us to obtain the quotes. And if you'd like at this time, if there's no more discussion, I would be ready to move.
Go ahead.
So I move that the town of Smoky Lake approve policy D06 2025 residential development grants and approve 25,000 towards this project for 2025 to be funded from the Housing Accelerator Grant, and have our development officer bring back the funding model or the platform by which council will finally approve the grant program moving forward. And then the added, I guess, say motion to proceed with obtaining quotes for an area structure plan and to be brought back to the next or to a future council meeting.
Just to clarify, in the policy, that's where I need to look at how it's written now. The program review officer would be me. So you want that to be council because that's gonna affect the processing timelines of these permits. So there's an application that they'll need to complete, and once that's provided, yeah, I'm in the policy, the review officer.
Yeah, and if I may, I read through that and it's excellent work. Thank you, Pam. It's just, and I knew that you were the approving officer. I just thought if we were thinking about increasing the money, once you have it all ready to roll out, if we just gave it the final stamp and then move forward, or do we want to increase more money at this time? Or I don't see what the final project looks like. I see the policy and I think everything
This is
work.
right. Go ahead, Marianne, sorry.
Yeah, just by gauging it with the discussion here, I think some people in the room are leaning towards increasing that amount. So if we could have it just brought back before we roll out, then we look at it and say, is there more money to put towards this? Because we really haven't had a budget meeting on the grant. We just know that we're on track, on time, on schedule, right?
Evelyn?
I like everything that you motioned earlier, Marianne. The one request I'm gonna ask you is the acronym KISS, keep it simple. So could we break it down into 3 separate motions? And yes, you did hear accurately, because I would really like to have a discussion of actually increasing that amount, because I think we're gonna have much more success if we make it more than $5,000 for those ancillary units, but I'm not quite sure how to go about doing that, because I wanna approve this today, because I
So
agree
why
with
don't
it.
we increase it now? No?
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
We have
instead of
one
having
before.
it come back, let's have that discussion right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, we really wanna start with the build season, that's why we
Yeah,
trying to get everything done
Yes.
today if possible.
so if you wanna raise the money, are you talking about raising? I'm sorry, I didn't put my hand up. Are you talking about increasing the amount per home? Or are you talking about increasing the amount of homes?
Potentially both.
Okay.
But let's take baby steps.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of increasing the amount per home. I think we're gonna get a much bigger response. Also because I saw other communities were offering $10,000 to $15,000. Also, they're more expensive communities, but at the same time, I think it's still, I actually do really, really like this. But again, you just brought it forward to us today. This is the very first time that we're discussing it. So I know you want to get moving on it, but at the same time, I want to have that conversation, but I don't want to be the person that's pulling numbers out of the air haphazardly. Because we could increase this to 50,000 if we want to,
Mary
or
Ann?
not.
So, thank you. I'm going to, just to keep it very organized for our admin team that's doing the minutes, I'm going to withdraw the motion.
Thank you, Mary Ann. So. Evelyn?
So right now, I'd like to make the motion that Town of Smoky Lake proceed with obtaining quotes for an area structure plan for 911 West Railway Drive in Smoky Lake and bring back the information to a future council meeting.
Okay. All in favor of getting quotes, or all in favor? I was gonna ask if we're on a discussion, but I'm assuming we discussed it today. All in favor? None opposed, would carry, okay.
Okay, so that one's knocked off.
So then are we looking at 10,000 for 5 homes, so 50,000? Or do we wanna do,
I don't.
but it's our, like, our.
I see what Evelyn's trying to say is that it's hard to just pull a number out of a hat somewhere. So we have some examples of other municipalities. And you said what was
These are
the only ones?
These are the only ones that are not huge cities like Edmonton and Calgary.
Right.
That, like Sylvan Lake does have too, but they're also way bigger. Like, no one is in size comparable to us that's getting HDF.
And their numbers, sorry, were,
Westlock is doing $10,000 for secondary suites. Bow Island is semi-detached, I guess, or a multi-unit, it's 7,500 per unit.
That's an extra number. I mean, any renovation to a home to accommodate another entry or is going to cost way more than 5,000, but it's a nice help.
Yeah, not, if the intent isn't, of course, to pay for. a
No,
whole
absolutely,
unit.
absolutely.
It's
I'm
a-
just saying,
But
it's
yeah.
compare, like, whether you're in Edmonton or here, the price is gonna be,
Yes.
I kind of like the 5 because it's kind of an incentive, but it's not. It's a start, it's the start, no? Oh, Mary Ann?
Sorry, and I agree with everything that's been said. Thanks, Amy. And I think we're kind of testing it. It is hard to get a number out of just seeing this in the agenda, and I appreciate all the work Pam did. Is there any opportunity that this could just be a pilot and we do it for X amount of months, come back, revisit it, and then pilot it or go into phase 2 and collect that data? Because I think I really like where you're going with this, Pam. I also would like to know what was the intake when we had the housing survey that closed off on the 21st in February. Do we have any data that would support this as to why we're incentivizing it?
Yes, we do, absolutely. The overwhelming response from the survey was that everyone's in agreement. We need more housing, we need more affordable housing, we need more different types of housing is the, yeah. overall consensus. I can bring the report to the next meeting for like information, but.
Well, I'm assuming that because council approved of that survey, that the results were gonna come back to council. So is that already planned for the next meeting? Okay.
Mel?
I really liked what Marianne said, like that maybe we could. Yeah, but I also like what Evelyn said, so I was thinking that what if we change the number to 7,500 and do 5, put them out at 5 of them at 7,500 a piece, which is kind of in the middle, in between the ones that are people kind of comparable to what other communities were doing. And then you know what, if it's awesome and those 5 get spent up, bring it back and we can do more, right? Like, I think that, I think it's a great idea, and I think that if we could move forward. But I think some good incentives, like a lot of those places will need a furnace. Or a separate furnace, right? So I think that grant funding would really help with that, so.
Yeah, I think that's a good start. You want to make the motion now? Or Evelyn, do you have any more discussion regarding?
Yeah, I do have one more question. Because it was 5,000, 25,000, 5,000, so there's 5. And then you also wrote in your background, 21 permitted housing units. So if we were to make 3 at 10,000, 30, like make it a round number, 30,000, 3, 10,000, that would reduce our number from 5 to 2 for permitted housing units.
For our overall target?
Yes, because right now in the background, you say we need a target of 21 permitted housing units. So the incentive is right now 5,000 for 5 units.
Yeah.
And then I was just saying, okay, what about 30,000 for 3 units? So that would reduce that number. See, this is why I don't like. I'm sorry, this just isn't,
What are you asking?
this is not, you know, because I actually really dislike the fact that we're just pulling numbers out, like, there should be some data information for us on a yearly basis, not choosing numbers haphazard. Which is what we're doing right now.
Not, I disagree, but we're using information she's found that are comparable to our town.
She actually just told us that she just chose the number.
Yeah, the 5,000, but I did research.
Yeah,
on
it's
it.
here, apartment buildings.
There's the HAF is very limited in who's receiving it, so where do you wanna get the from?
There's other communities that have this kind of incentive. It is not necessarily HAF. They have this incentive. We're using our grant money for that incentive, but there's other communities that have it.
Well, it's not comparable if it's a grant though. Cause we need
The
to
amount
use
of
our
money
grant
and what they
funding is
per unit
specifically
is.
for HAF. So yes, I just chose the $5,000 based off of my research. But it's up to obviously it's up to council this decision. I just put a number for you guys to discuss.
Mhm.
Marianne, when you were saying doing like a trial, were you saying leaving it at the 5 and do the trial? Or were you? Sorry, gotcha.
I like the recommendation, but I made the motion and then I withdrew it, so I'm just not even weighing in on the amount at this time. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Well, leave it at 5 and make it a pilot.
I liked. I'll make a motion of Town of Smoky Lake, approve policy number D06/2025 residential development grants and approve 37,500, which works out to $7,500 towards this project for 2025 to be funded from the Housing Accelerator Grant Fund. And for administration to bring back to council an update on how many applications we've received.
Evelyn?
I don't think that's gonna happen automatically, so I don't think that we have to add that second section.
Sure, let's keep it out of there.
It's to keep it simple, we don't need to add that. Did you just say, you got very quiet there, so
Oh,
did you
sorry.
just say, so what was the amount? I thought I heard you say.
37.5, which works out to $7,500
Times 5.
times per 5 units. Was what I had suggested. Or the motion I put forward.
No further discussion. I'll call the question. All in favor? None opposed, so carried. 7.9, water service line request.
So just to follow up on Deputy Mayor Brock Hughes Zarowski's motion, the town of Smoky Lake deferred the water line service request to the March 31st meeting and to include water line depths and water usage. From the pipe that was excavated, the depth was approximately 8 to 10 feet near the curb valve, the curb shutoff valve. Where the water line comes up to the surface, it was excavated approximately 5 feet down. And the water line was still vertical. The depth at that point is not determined at this time. It's estimated that the customer uses approximately 5 extra cubic meters per month running their water to avoid future freeze ups. That was an estimate. There hasn't been a full billing month since this occurred, so that was estimated off of a spot meter read and looking at past typical months before what their typical usage was. Is there any other questions?
Marianne?
Hi, John. We missed you last time, so thank you. I'm still struggling with getting kind of just a breakdown on what's happened and where the freezing took place. And when Dawn was here, she had said that there was no visual aids or no pictures because it was underground. So so a couple questions. Is there any way you can pull it up on Spin or on the GIS to show us like where the trailer is and where the line is so that we know where it's frozen or it's on the property line close to the CC or at the trailer or some sort of, do you have any visual aids? I just want to know why this happened or where it happened. And in the invoice, they applied some heat tape, but I would assume we installed it with heat tape, or we are not the installers. They had a contractor install the line.
It wasn't determined exactly where the freeze was. All I know is that it was somewhere upstream of the meter. There's about 2 or 3 feet of above ground pipe before the meter. It was somewhere upstream of that. That it wasn't determined exactly where it was frozen. There was heat tape installed by Public Works when a portion of pipe approximately 5 feet down was replaced. Public Works installed heat tape on that section of pipe. If it was plugged in and operating, there probably wouldn't be a freeze up, but we weren't. I don't know exactly where it was frozen, so it's hard to say what the solution would be.
So then what you're saying is it could be on the the town land or
I don't.
before the
believe it-
CC or after the CC?
I don't believe it would be on the town land, I checked. at
Or
the
sorry,
depth-
the
I checked
CC,
it. Sorry, go
Sorry.
ahead.
sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, before the CC or after the CC?
I believe it's after the CC, but again, I can't say exactly where it was frozen. I know the main wasn't frozen. The neighbor next door downstream of that house had water flowing, but Public Works brought in our heater to assist, but they're a relatively new homeowner, so we wanted to help them out with following that service. Again, it's hard to, we were not shown exactly where the freeze up happened, so there's a few theories that I don't have a solid 100% reason where and how a freeze occurred.
No.
So as per our bylaw, you know, which is whose portion of the pipe, we don't know. Is what you're saying? Or
Well,
or are you scared to tell me?
near the
Because you seem scared to tell me.
near the curb stop, it was approximately 8 to 10 feet. There was a leak near the curb stop valve last year that we dug up. If it's at that depth, should be below the frost line, which shouldn't freeze up.
I don't know what you just said. I'm not gonna lie. Is that?
We excavated.
Yeah, I knew what you said there, but so you're saying it shouldn't be on the town's property because that would have been 8 feet down,
I believe
which
it's,
is,
I believe it's somewhere closer to that. This is where it froze.
Oh. and they believe, they don't know where it was froze either, but they believe that because it's a new service, we should cover the cost of it.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to get the meat and potatoes here.
So Madam Chair, if I may.
Yeah.
So Mel, you referenced the bylaw and I see the number there, but like, I don't see it in the agenda package. So when we're referencing the bylaw, I just, I'd appreciate just having it. So I think, my last question to John, and then I think I want to suggest that we defer this, but John, can you say who installed the, was it a contractor or did the town install the water service?
town replaced a portion of the water service. Like the other portion was predated my time here. And it was not installed by Public Works recently.
That's great.
So the 5 feet that was below ground, okay, so nothing was dug up at this last, when the freeze up happened.
No,
So nobody knows where exactly the freeze up happened.
all I know is that it appeared it was somewhere upstream of the meter, which is the meters underneath the house, and there's 2 to 3 feet of above ground piping, and then it goes underground.
Okay.
I put the bylaw up on the screen. 10.7.
Can you read it?
Do you want me to read it?
Please.
The owner, as a term of being supplied with water services, is responsible for the cost of construction, maintenance, and repair of those portions of the service connection both above, on, or underneath the premises to the boundary of the road or easement, but only to the point, but excluding the curb cut valve.
So if it's after the meter, then that's residence portion, correct?
After the curb stop.
Curb,
Wait,
line,
sorry,
meter.
because you said.
So the curb stop valve, which is usually property line.
Okay.
According to the bylaw, the service after downstream of that curb stop valve
Okay.
is the responsibility of the homeowner.
So,
No.
so I, like, obviously this is, I feel very sorry for somebody who has a new home and a new lot and I'm just concerned about making a motion that goes against our bylaw. So that's the input that I have here today, is that that's what our bylaw says. And if we're certain that it is in between that section, which says in the bylaw, then my motion would be to support our bylaw. If we are not certain, then I need some more information.
Can you please skew down to the bottom of the bylaw?
To what section?
I don't know, because there's we're being shown one section of this bylaw. We haven't been, the bylaw, normal practice is that if we're gonna use a bylaw and refer to it, that we have it included in our package. So.
What do you want to see?
You can skew up.
But what information are we looking for
We
deferring?
can defer it and get the bylaw sent out and we can review the bylaw. Like, I get that. I have no problem with that. Yeah, that's fine. Marianne's question.
Marianne?
I support, thank you. I support Mel in that, I think we need some more information. I don't want to go against the bylaw either, but right now I'm not hearing that, we know where it was frozen. So, I don't know how we're going to get to that. So I would support Mel's motion to defer it.
No. I'll make a motion to defer this to our next council meeting and to email the bylaw out to council and also include it in the next package with this agenda item.
It's in there. All right, all in favor? I'm gonna post it. Bylaw and policy 9.1 retroactive municipal tax relief policy. Thanks, John. Evelyn?
We're on a roll here. I'm gonna make a motion that Town of Smoky Lake defer the retroactive municipal tax relief policy A-05-2025 with amendments. So to the next council meeting with amendments is what I'm going to suggest
To the next or future.
to a future. I'm not gonna, but there's there's a couple things that are missing from this. One is the fire.
Somebody has a fire.
Okay, which other communities have included in this policy? And another one is can you please check out the city of Leduc? They actually have a form that you can complete, which has all of the information included. And I see that there's a letter later on under correspondence, and that actually, we should actually have a form that somebody fills out instead of they don't know what to write. So we need a form to guide people in what it is, and it gives them, and not everybody reads bylaws, surprise, surprise. So if we could have the form with the city of Leduc actually has points where, sections where you can take a look at it and understand what the bylaw is. So I would highly recommend that we take a look at that and incorporate it into this policy. But also I'm concerned about fire as well too, because if somebody has a home that burns down, I am all for lowering their property taxes when there's not a building on it. Or you'll see what it says. And I think the city of Leduc includes that as well too. So that's what I'm going to, if we can improve our, if we can improve it that way.
Any other questions? Otherwise, all in favor? No, opposed, so carried. 9.2, second and third reading bylaw number 08-205.
Thank you. So bylaw 08/2025 was given first reading at the February 24th, 2025 council meeting. The purpose of this bylaw is to rezone lot 8 and 9, block 1, plan 1885 CL from R2 residential medium density district to R3 residential high density district. The notice of public hearing was advertised in the Redwater Review on March 19th and March 26th in accordance with section 606 of the MGA. And in addition, landowners within 60 meters were sent a notification, and a total of 19 notifications were mailed out. We had our public hearing for this parcel earlier, and this parcel is municipally owned and has a request for proposal which closed on March 20th. Part of this is that the proponent will need to build a minimum of 4 units, and this zoning allows for that.
I'll make the motion that Town of Smoky Lake gives second reading to bylaw number 08/2025 to amend bylaw 007-18, being the land use bylaw for the Town of Smoky Lake, to rezone lot 8 and 9, block 1, plan 1885 CL from R2 residential medium density district to R3 residential high density district.
All in favor? No opposed, so carried. No. Oh, Marianne?
I'd like to move that the Town of Smoky Lake give third and final reading to bylaw number 08-2025 to amend bylaw 007-18, being the land use bylaw for the Town of Smoky Lake, to rezone lot number 8 and 9, block 1, plan 1885 CL from R2 residential medium density district to R3 residential high density district.
All in favor? No opposed, so carried. Thank you, Pam. Thanks.
Thanks, Pam.
Welcome. 9.3, street closure policy.
I believe that this new proposed street closure policy would better reflect the current practices of street closure permits and policy, and designate council to approve proposed street closures by organizations in town.
Just one question, John, you wrote this?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanna, I'll make the motion to pass this as is. Just one small edit at the 310. A is 55 Avenue, the full avenue word, and C is 44 Ave, the short form. So if you could just choose one, and I'm gonna suggest the long version, because you've got Railway Drive there, so. Having me cut that little typo, I'll make the motion that Town of Smoky Lake adopt policy R/S -001 -2025 street closure policy as presented.
Mary Ann?
So just a comment for discussion, looking at the old one from 212 and the charge of $35, did we impose that?
No.
Any other? All otherwise, all in favor? None opposed to carry. All right. Mayor and councilor reports. 10.1.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Mary Ann?
So if I may, I didn't submit my report from Minister McIver, and that will be coming to council April 28th. Please forgive me. I had it in my draft inbox, but it didn't get sent. Just sometimes the week gets ahead of you. So it was very successful, and I wish I had better news that he was giving us a truckload of money, but it was still a very positive outcome. So I'm anxious. I'm looking forward to share that with you next meeting.
Thank you. No.
Yes, thanks, Mary Ann, for doing that, and everyone. I've seen on your report that it was very positive outcome there. Just a quick verbal update. Tuesday, there was a meeting held for the shareholders of the SLTC. That included the MCC plus the MCDL for the SLTC, and it has been officially dissolved. So that is all done. So then we had a shareholders meeting held on Thursday. And after reviewing the bylaws in USA, Lydia had done some research, and because the MCC won't be used for the Victoria District tourism anymore, we do require advertising before we can separate or remove all the shares. So the motions were made at the shareholders meeting to pay back the fee schedule and those the initial one, and then to make motions to advertise, and then have another shareholders meeting in 30 days to commence finalizing the bank accounts of the MCC back to the municipality. So the material change that was talked about was using like something that would encompass, it could be housing, it could be doctor recruitment. So the wording that was put out there was future economic endeavors. But again, we're still working on that. We will need to require legal advice on exactly how to do the material change. But the $100,000 to each municipality was issued that day at the time. So that part is completed. Once we get some advice on the next step on how to remove the shares, then we'll call another shareholders meeting and move forward from there. And I think that's the gist of it. So unfortunately, thought we're going to be able to move a little faster and get this completed, but learned that it's going to take a little bit longer and that we need to advertise out to the community and for transparency. So that is where we're at.
Evelyn?
So what about the money? It was due back today, right?
That's been paid back, done. Yeah, that part
The
is
loan payment has
was
been done.
completed on Thursday.
So that part has been done.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, we are up to date with everything that was supposed to be done by the end of the month. We were hoping that we could disperse just all of it, but learned that we can't, and we just need to go through a few other hoops before we can do that. But that part, yeah, everything like that is done for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And business Smoky Lake Tourism is bank accounts gone and everything done. So that is my update. No, if there's no other questions, I'll make a motion to accept the mayor, councilor and committee report.
All in favor?
We lost Marianne.
Looks like we have. Don't think that passed with the
Yeah.
warrant, though, right?
Yeah,
Favor, opposed, carried.
When did she disappear?
just right
Now.
now, just gone.
Oh, the computer might have died. She'll be back. All right, we'll move to correspondence, declaring action. Community Future sponsorship request for Lemonade Day, 11.1.
While you're doing that, I'll make the motion that Town of Smoky Lake provide a sponsorship to Community Future St. Paul Smoky Lake region in the amount of $200 to support the Lemonade Day initiative held during the week of June 9th to 12th, 2025, for the purpose of supporting and encouraging youth to become entrepreneurs, to be funded from the 2025 interim operating budget entitled Grants to Individuals, Organizations, in reference to the letter from Penny Fox, General Manager, received March 5th, 2025.
She said she froze and then internet went down. So did I. All in favor? None opposed, so carried.
I have a question.
Yeah,
Under background, we, 2 years ago, we made a motion. Oh, okay, no, I think I just answered my own question. So because we already have it under proclamations, we don't need to make those motions anymore, correct? I just answered my own question for about the business license. Because it's a proclamation for Lemonade Day, but what about the business license? Do we have to, is that included in the proclamations? Because now the proclamation just says we're gonna celebrate Lemonade Day.
Yeah, no.
So should we be making one separately right now for a business license?
No, I think we do actually need to do that.
Because we did it in 20. Yeah, like when do we approve the issue of business license to those, like that motion right there? Because that was, I don't know when we did that in 2024, but I see where we did it in 2023.
Issue business license, yeah. I think that's just part of the program. I don't know if we need a motion for that. It's just part of the program that will give them a business license.
Yeah, that's why I'm not, do we even need to?
No, that's.
Okay, yeah, so we did it back in 2023, but it's a moot point, okay.
oh, she's waiting to get let back in. All right, 11.2 Smoky Lake Legion branch number 227 funding and support request. Evelyn?
So I'm gonna make a motion that Town of Smoky Lake write a letter of support to the Royal Canadian Legion Smoky Lake branch number 227 for their Community Facility Enhancement Program, CFEP, grant application for the floor replacement project in reference to the letter from Harvey Prosky, Vice President, Royal Canadian Legion Smoky Lake branch 227 dated March 6, 2025.
Any discussion, any discussion? All in favor? None opposed or carried. No?
Hi. I was just gonna suggest that we don't, there is a motion 2 on here, but that we wait till the application comes back before we move on with motion. I like to, like, it's not necessary right now, right? Because they're asking for a donation for it right now. But if we're supporting them in writing the letter, then administration can just, they can come back after. That's all I was thinking.
With a number.
Yeah. Do you make that motion? Yeah, I'll just make a motion. I just wanted to change motion 2, just to say, that administration reach out to the Legion and let them know if they're successful with the ACP or the CFIP grant. If they can apply back to council.
Any discussion?
That's a poor motion, but. A little rough. I need a drink.
All in favor? None opposed or carried. 11.3 Alberta Municipalities Town East Zone Meeting.
Mel? Sorry, gotta get there. I'm just gonna make a motion as per the recommendation. The town of Smoky Lake approved the Alberta Municipalities Towns East Zone virtual meeting on April 2nd, 2025 from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the council approved event.
Any discussion about that? All in favor?
Oh, Marianne had a discussion, I think.
Do you have a discussion?
For communication, do we have anyone available to take this meeting or? Cause I'm committed elsewhere.
I can attend.
I'm wanting to attend. I'll just be off that day, so I'm gonna make sure I'm there, but if I do, I do. If I don't, I don't.
I'm hoping my schedule will
Yeah.
allow I could take my lunch at that time, but if not, at least there's 2 of you, so that's great.
All in favor? None opposed or carried. 11.4 Tourism Development Info Sharing for Entrepreneurs Event. Is this at all related to, oh, Maria?
I'd like to move the Town of Smoky Lake file for information, the request to have a town representative attend the Tourism Development Information Session event on April 23rd from 4 to 7, located at the Meady Crossing as requested by Marianne Jenke, Executive Director, Alberta Iron Horse Trail.
All question, all in favor? No opposed, so carried. 11.5 Town resident tax requests.
We don't have any financial information on this. Do we need to go into closed session to receive it? If so, then I will make a motion to go into closed section, VoIP section, personal information. I don't know, Carly's. And I was looking at.
It's 16, sorry.
17, right? Personal.
16?
Personal private.
No, 17, sorry.
I said 16, that's why.
Okay, under VoIP section 17,
Yes. Disclosure harmful to personal
privacy. Disclosure harmful personal privacy. Okay.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. I'll have a motion to come out of closed.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. All right, I have somebody read the motion.
I will make the motion. Carly, can you read it out for me?
That the town of Smoky Lake Administration work with Ms. Hutelak to get her on a tax repayment installment plan in regards to the tax penalty relief request dated March 11th, 2025, as discussed in closed session.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. 11.1 correspondence to file for information. 12.1. On the motion. Evelyn?
I'll make the motion and then have a discussion point. The town of Smoky Lake file for information, the correspondence items A to B as follows. Alberta municipalities preliminary analysis of Alberta's 2025 budget. Ministry of Municipal Affairs letter regarding education property tax 2025 education property tax fact sheet and 2025 education property tax comparison report.
Discussion.
So, there, it says that we're going up 13%?
For the school requisition?
Yeah. Okay, so is this how you're informed of it, or how are we informed of it budget-wise? Because this is,
Well, at the budget meeting, we will. Because we just got the school requisition, so that would.
yeah, okay, so that's how it's done, okay. That's why when I saw this for file for information, I thought, there's a lot of important information in that, so you get it you get it through the requisition, okay, all good.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor? None opposed, so carried. All right, last minute additions, 13.1, date for budget meeting.
I'm not available the 14th of April.
The morning of the 15th. And the morning, nothing. Later, well, afternoon of the 17th.
I'm available 17th at 3:30.
Okay, yeah. I can-
Maybe we'll go 17th at 3:30. What do you have? You got something else?
Oh, I'm away. Curly's away and I was going to leave at 4 o'clock. It's Good Fridays.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Wednesday, but
That's all we got. For like, unless we do it like early morning on the 7th. Yeah, I could do morning, but I know you have, that's right away, and you have appointments.
No, it's fine. If everybody else is available, I'm available.
Early morning, like 10 a.m. or
I was hoping like not, well, I mean, depending if this is quick or not, like, you're not quick, but within a couple of
Like
hours.
8?
Yeah, 8 would be awesome.
8 a.m.
Mondays are hard for me that early with my other job.
Oh, sorry. Would, like, how early works, or 10, 9? Can you make it 9?
I can make it 9:30.
From an appointment at 1:45.
Well, 9:30 might work then. Okay. Alright. Evelyn?
It works if you say 9:30?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that works.
And what would be the duration of that meeting? Like, are we going till noon or?
I would say around noon.
9:30 to 12? Okay.
So do you need a motion, Amy?
Yeah,
or-
I'm gonna make a motion to reschedule the budget meeting to April 7th at 9:30 AM.
Want to cap it at noon?
From 9:30 till 12.
All right, all in favor? None opposed, carried. 13.2 in
So-
terms.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make another motion, please, regarding the budget. If council can can receive the line by line year-end 2024 numbers, please, prior to the budget meeting.
I can get what we have now. We are still in the year-end process, so that's still changing. But I can print a copy of what we have as of the budget meeting day.
All right. You have that in a motion, currently?
I'm just typing it.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you, Crystal.
Council can receive a line, council receive a line by line budget 2024. Actuals to date to be provided on April 7th.
All in
2025.
favor?
Not on April 7th, before, if we need it.
For the April 7th. meeting.
For, yeah.
Okay.
And it's funny
Okay.
because that's not a lot of time for our admin to prepare for that meeting in some regard. Like I know a lot of it's been already done. So are we adding stress to? Because the agenda would have to come out on Thursday, right?
All good.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. 13.2, interim CAO. No?
Do the recommendation, the way it was written from the last.
Yeah. Yeah, do you want me to read it or do you
Yeah.
wanna just have it?
Can you read it?
That the town of Smoky Lake appoint blank as interim chief administrative officer with all the powers, duties and responsibilities as the chief administrative officer for the town of Smoky Lake as per the Municipal Government Act, section 205, to effective immediately. As of, I guess you would put March 31st, 2025.
Evelyn?
Well, respectfully, we're doing this to cover our butts, but apparently if you have an assistant CAO, you are automatically the interim CAO when a CAO leaves. But when I called municipal affairs about this, if that's what a lawyer consulted Smoky Lake County about, that's how I learned about this. When I called municipal affairs, they said, can we please suggest that you make a motion to it just to cover your butts because.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing, but apparently that is what happened, because you do have the title of assistant CAO. You are by default automatically the CAO upon there. Now, if you're going to reject the position, that's when we would have to make a different.
I was gonna make a bad joke right there, but I realized that's you're gonna take it seriously.
Like, if there's some sort of outstanding circumstance, but that is the nature of the position that you are by default the interim CAO.
So I will make that motion, except for in the blank. I would like to put Crystal's name in there.
Yeah.
And effective immediately,
Yeah.
even though it was effective on March 27th as per our bylaw. But just like you said, just to have the officialness. And it's my motion,
You can't be without a mayor, but you can be without a CAO.
yes. Sometimes.
Okay, all in favor? None opposed, so carried. 13.3, bylaw, library bylaw, I think it's called, bylaw, not a policy yet.
I make a motion to bring it back to this meeting and I apologize it wasn't on the agenda.
I sent it to Mary Ann via email.
I'm not sure.
Thank you.
10 years old.
Can we just review it and bring it back to the next meeting now that we have it?
Yeah. I think it's- I'm not gonna leave it that fast.
Or is there something that you want to point out, Evelyn, like a topic or something?
It's been, I mean, I've read it, but I know nobody else has read it. You didn't tell, just give, so I'm gonna just suggest that we bring it back.
I'll make a motion to file for information, the bylaw, and to be back for review at the next meeting. Let's just do it at the next one. It's only a couple pages, so.
All in favor? No opposed. All right, 13.3 municipal intern. 1, 2, 3, yes, 13.4. Marianne?
Yeah, so I kind of brought it up. I noticed it was on the admin report, and my thought is just, I believe that because it is a grant, what is the opportunity to repost the position and have someone to help out in the office? Originally it came to council from our previous CAO. As a motion of council, it was to move forward. So I'm hoping that council will say we are not short, but we do need help in the office. It would be helpful to our admin team now to have that extra person, especially if they have an ACUM 2 being or training in the CAO program or the administration program, sorry. And it would, the timeline for that grant would take us to October. So it would definitely help for the election. So I just wanted to have a wider discussion with council at this time. And I know it's a budget line item as well. I don't need to know what happened. The email was a little vague, but I would like to have some discussion as to maybe we can move forward with the program.
Yeah, Crystal.
So I think a part of the issue was it is very strenuous with time to mentor the student. So with the CAO leaving, we agreed that there wasn't enough time for the intern. To have to post it, run through resumes, it's gonna take time. We have a summer student already posted. The timeline for that is for a start date of May 1st to August 31st, as we always do. The municipal intern is a bit different, so then it would take time to run through resumes, have to have conversations with the intern. There's a big plan that you have to like follow with the intern. They have to have, there's checklists, like conference, there's training. With it being so close to October, I wouldn't advise it. That was part of the issue with the CAO leaving, is the tasks that were involved with continuing the program with the intern.
My other thought behind, and thanks, Crystal. My other thought was I'm not keen on going back to municipal affairs and say, well, thank you for the grant, but guess what? We don't need it.
That's already done. That's already been done.
They're aware, yeah.
Yeah, she had to submit that. Evelyn?
It was done already, or?
That's how that you.
It was brought to their attention.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it was brought to their attention and there was a good conversation, not with me, but with the previous CAO and the grant people. And they had a conversation of the situation and moving forward, and they were okay with that. So.
Okay, because there's inconsistencies here. There's inconsistency with two conversations that were taking place in closed session. 2 days later, an email, and now comments that you've just made. So you're saying, so for Mary Ann to add this to, or sorry, Councillor Prosecute, Deputy Mayor Prosecute Zarowski to add this to the agenda, she's asking, now we are learning today that the conversation has already taken place to end our grant, or like that the grant is.
The conversation that I'm referring to was with our intern leaving. We had to notify the grant people. So there was that conversation.
Yeah, okay, so where's the grant at now? Because that's what.
That I'm not sure of. We have, they're working on their end to see how we're gonna rectify the grant moving forward. I think because the conversation with it being terminated in October, that it's just a short timeline of having to post, interview, hire, and then try to have a plan in that shorter term, like time, because it is an 18-month program. And now we're narrowing it down to just only a few months. So I don't think the intention on our end was to post again for it. I don't know the conversation that Dawn had with the grant ladies, if that would even be an option at this point. I would have to find out more information.
I would say, and I agree with what's being said somewhat. I just think it's a short time, but it's actually 7 months. And I think we're in a position now with our CAO resigning that it could be helpful, because some of it, yes, is onboarding, but some of it is they've got some training. So I don't think it would hurt to ask and say, you know, council looked at this and it was a grant. Maybe we can,
But there are markers in the program that have to be met, and someone has to mentor them. I don't feel that the task for the administration is fair. We're asking them to already do with the elections, and it's not it's not just shadowing, it's actual tasks. Like, I know we did this and people that do internships and stuff, that's what it's about. I don't feel it's a fair ask of our own. No,
Why don't we, get more information from the grant, like, we don't know where it's at. There was conversation and, why don't you bring that back where it's at? And what there's like.
And the capacity of
Yeah,
interning.
yeah, you know, cause I don't know.
Mentoring.
Well, we have no information about the grant.
Yeah.
Because what is being said, I'm trying to watch what I say, because a lot of it was said in camera. And I'm finding that there's inconsistencies with what was said in camera and suddenly what is being said now. So yes, I would like to learn more. I agree with you on this one. This needs to come back to us. And if we need to go in camera to discuss it, then we'll go into camera to discuss it, but we should be able to. I can't say,
so
can't say anything because of what was said in camera, but I was told something very specific, so this is really contradiction.
Councillor Cobes, sorry, I'm not referring to what has already transpired, or I'm not referring to what's in camera. I'm talking about specifically the program, the funding program. So if Krista said, okay, so sorry, moving forward, I'm talking about the grant, not necessarily the people, but if Crystal turned to us and say, you know, it takes X amount of hours per week, then I could make a better decision and saying, well, of course, you wouldn't have that time. I was looking at it from the lens of, could this add to the team that's already there, help out? There's the previous CA or previous interns did a lot of policy work, worked on some of the org charts and everything. So they were an added value to the organization. That's all I'm putting on the table at this time. So thank you. I do appreciate the support, and I appreciate the dialogue as well.
How would I'll make a motion for administration to bring back an update,
And the municipal intern grant. And that our status.
and
yeah.
like, and to answer Mary Ann's question, like, if it's a burden and not a help, then that's not good also, right? If it takes more time, then you get out of it, but at least then we would have that information. We're not here every day, right? We don't know. So that would be my motion.
Always expressed that it was a burden on that Brian, a little bit like not understanding, but.
To which meeting?
Whichever one you want. When you have, I don't want to say next meeting, because when you have a budget meeting in between, when you have the availability to get that information, yeah.
Right, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay. All right, 14. Which one? Session. Did we? Do 14.5 first? Let's do one, please.
Oh, yeah, right.
And then he can do some things. Okay, we're gonna go into closed section for 14.5. Mr. the resident Mike Lansky, section 17, disclosure of harmful personal privacy, is that right?
Legal, I thought.
Oh, legal, sorry,
Legal?
27.
Yes.
27, privileged information at 4:30.
I'll make that motion.
Man, no. All right, all in favor? Is that a motion to go into closed?
Yes.
All together? Okay. All right, I'll get a motion to come back into closed session.
I'll make that motion.
In favor? Opposed, carried. And Mel, I'll have a motion for 14.5.
I'll make a motion that Town of Smoky Lake move forward with the removal on April 30th as discussed in closed session.
Okay, good, perfect, thanks, guys. Anything else?
Nope,
That's the motion.
that's the motion, we're
Okay,
done.
thanks.
Okay. 14.1, request for proposal. Number 2-2025, lot 8 and 9. Mary Mel?
I'll make a motion that the Town of Smoky Lake go into closed session to discuss the following pursuit the freedom of information and protection of privacy. Act, FOIP, section 16, disclosure harmful to business interest of a third party.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. All right, I'll get a motion to come out of closed. No, all in favor? None opposed, so carried. And we'll have option 1 read.
I'll make a motion that Town of Smoky Lake reissue request for proposal for lot 8, lot 1, plan 1885CL, and lot 9, lot 1, plan 1885CL, and which section do we, and remove or
And
provide? And provide more information regarding affordable housing component.
Okay, all in favor? None opposed, so carried. And then Marianne?
I'd like to move that the Town of Smoky Lake Council direct administration to set up a delegation presentation from Raymond Comrie of Homeland Housing to present on to present on housing options for the Town of Smoky Lake.
Favor? None opposed, so carried. All right, and now we're going to go into closed 14.2 legal. Mel?
Move the Town of Smoky Lake go into closed session to discuss the following matter pursuant to the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, FOIP section 27, privilege information at 4:51.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. All right, I'll get a motion to come out of closed.
I'd like to
Marianne?
move that I'd like to move that the town of Smoky Lake come out of closed session at 4:58.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. And then a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept for information, the update on legal in closed session.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. And then 14.3, Smoky Lake Library Application Review. Mel?
I am not certain. I just want to clarify, do we need to go in closed session for this?
To review applications, yes, but there is not.
He is not, so we do not need to go into closed session. However, because we haven't had any applications and we had a little, I know it got advertised in the newsletter and that newsletter got posted, but our Facebook post came out very, very late. I would like to make a motion that we repost for this position. Because I don't sure. Oh, I don't have it.
I didn't do it.
You didn't give me one.
Unless it's back page.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It's
Then
something
I was-
realized when I was going.
She's going off the cuff. She's going off the cuff here, guys. Okay.
I found it by accident, by the way. I
thank
flipped and
you.
went, oh, look what's here.
My motion is that the town of Smoky Lake advertise and extend the application deadline for Smoky Lake board members to May 1st, 2025, and administration at Smoky Lake Library Board application review to the April 28th, 2025 regular council meeting to be a closed session item. I'm just kidding. I meant May, the May 9th meeting, because I made it later. Yeah. Okay, May 9th. Caught myself there. Sorry, guys.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. All right. 14.4, CAO recruitment, next steps. Mel?
I'll make a motion to go in closed session for the CAO recruitment under FOIP section 16.
Is it personnel or business? It's business, right?
Business.
Yeah,
third
so
party.
16, disclosure harmful to business.
That would be my motion.
At
Oh, sorry,
5,
5 o'clock.
all in favor? None opposed, so carried. I'll get a motion to come out of closed session.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Is it being recorded right now?
Yeah. Opposed, so carried. All right, and who has that motion?
She closed it.
I packed up my motion. I would like to make the motion that Town of Smoky Lake hire Angela Duncan of Municipal Rising Tides for an initial consultation regarding CAO recruitment at a cost of $700.
All right, all in favor? None opposed, so carried. Oh, thank you.
Did you adjourn?
Yeah.
Or what time?
Right now.
5:46.